It's good to see you today. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Come on with us to the book of Romans. We are going to be thinking about Phoebe in Romans chapter 16, verses 1 and 2. We have just a couple of verses about this lady who was so helpful. I just wanted to make a few points about Phoebe. A lot of folks, when they hear the name Phoebe, and I actually have a niece named Phoebe. A lot of people, when they hear the name, they say, well, where'd that name come from? Well, it's in the Bible. Romans 16. Let's read it. Romans 16, verse 1. I commend to you Phoebe, our sister, who is a servant of the church in Centuria, that you may receive her in the Lord in a manner worthy of the saints, and assist her in whatever business she has need of you. For indeed, she has been a helper of many and of myself also. This is at the end of the letter to the Romans, as Paul starts his conclusionary remarks. But here we have Phoebe, and some folks think that perhaps Phoebe actually was the person responsible for taking this letter. That may be the case, because obviously Paul is commending her, and she's going to Rome. So perhaps that's the case. I think there may be that it may very well be that way. But what points could we make about Phoebe just from this verse? And again, it really is, you know, just a couple verses. So, what are some points that we can make? Well, I'd suggest one is this. Our sister Phoebe is what she's called. And I think it's just a wonderful thing that here you have a woman. Sometimes people they'll either frankly almost come out and say it, or by practice the church turns into, well, it's all the men doing it's the men, right? It's an old boys club. That's almost what it becomes like sometimes. At least it seems that way. And it should not be that way. It should not be that way. What we should have in the Lord's church are men and women working together. And at the same time, as we think about unity and fellowship, you have the verse about in the Lord's church, there's neither slave nor free, there's neither Jew nor Gentile, there's neither male nor female. They're all one. We're united together. And we recognize that man is not independent of woman. Woman's not independent of man either. We are together. Here, our sister Phoebe, that in the Lord's kingdom, that men and women can work in it, be a part of it, be beneficial to others in it. That is a wonderful, wonderful thing. She's called a servant in the passage. Our sister Phoebe, right? To you, Phoebe, our sister, who is a servant of the church in Centuria. We need to think about being servants, serving others. When the Lord talks about service, and he talks about the least in the kingdom and the greatest in the kingdom is servant of all. That idea of service, of serving others, right? When the Lord talks about it, and he says, even to the least of these, my brethren, we don't just serve, as you think about, this has just kind of been on my mind lately. Whoever you think is the least in the kingdom, that's the person you better be serving, because it's real easy to ignore that person. It's real easy to overlook them. It's real easy to look down your nose at them and to not serve them. Phoebe, our sister, she is a servant to the church in Centuria. That's what she was, a servant to the church. She's also a helper, the verse says. She has helped, Paul says, she has been a helper of many and myself also. And I would suggest when we think about service, we need to make sure that it's not just service in theory. It's real easy to say, well, I'm a servant of the church in Columbus. Well, what does that mean? You better be helping people individually. That's what it means. Phoebe had helped Paul and others whom probably Paul knew individually, just as he knew, because he's going to talk about a whole lot of individuals here in just a little bit in the book of Romans. She had helped people individually. Service was not just theory for her. It was a practice. She was a helper. That's what she was. She also needed help, though, as well. As this commendation is, right, I commend to you, as the letter is going to be sent, he implores them. He says, receive her in the Lord in a manner worthy of the saints, we could say something about that as well. That sometimes, sometimes folks do not treat, sometimes, frankly, in the Lord's church, we don't treat each other the way we should in a manner worthy of the saints. But that's a rant for another day. Here he says, receive her in the Lord in a manner worthy of the saints, and assist her in whatever business she has need of you. She has been a helper of many, and myself also. A person reaps what they have sown. Phoebe, she had helped others, she had served others, and now she's going to need their help. She's going to need their help. And that's how it is, and that's how it should be. We help others, but at the same time, we need help too. We need help too, and we need to be humble enough to ask for help. We need to be humble enough to receive help as well. Phoebe, the helper, is going to need assistance, and that's how it is. That's how it is in the Lord's kingdom. So, just a little bit about this wonderful lady here, Phoebe, our sister, servant, helper of the church, also needing help. Hope you have a good day. Appreciate you tuning in for this, just a little bit of our daily bread. Hope you tune in tomorrow for another brief look into God's Word. Appreciate you being with us today.